We wake up, go about a morning routine of some sort. We get dressed, make breakfast, make lunch, and then eventually make dinner. We sit down to do homework, and we let ourselves be consumed with the televised shows that are conveniently in front of us, but honestly end up turning into background noise while we doom scroll on our phones. We lay in bed, taking in the unnecessary information on the small little devices we all use to stay connected, as we say, when really we just sit in comparison. It seems dark. It is dark. We do all of it in the darkness. Because how do we know we're really living when we don't even have the words to describe how our day was when someone asks? In general, people recognize this and don't think twice. But it's nihilistic. It's mundane. It's monotonous. We see the world as it is rather than as it could be seen. I discovered this when, late at night, instead of picking up my Instagram reels again, I picked up Don Quixote. A strange bedside read, but it felt like we were in a staring competition, and I don't like to lose. I asked myself how I'm supposed to know how to describe life, and Cervantes answered that question for me, but I didn't know that until I finished the book. What could this book, written in the 1600s nonetheless, teach me about the meaning of life? I didn't realize my questions were being answered until I started looking around and understanding there's light to life. Rubicund Apollo had scarcely spread the golden locks of his gorgeous hair across the face of the broad and spacious land. The lovely little birds with their sugar-plum tongues had barely begun to greet. In harmony, mellifluous and sweet, the arrival of the rosy dawn, who, leaving the soft bed of her heedful husband behind, had just begun to reveal herself to mortal eyes through the doors and balconies of the Manchegan horizon. Don Quixote, Chapter 2, page 422. Reading this novel and novels like these, classics, have rewired my brain chemistry. I look at the prosaic life I seem to live, and am able to add the beauty of literature to my perspective. I'm weary to the moments where I cannot find the profound
After
words
going to such
to
lengths
describe
to describe a sunrise,
with my
who would I
friends
be
and
if I
family,
slept in and
the
missed out
same
on the
manner
beautification
authors
of it?
that Cervantes sits and writes about. I look back and remember the dread of summer reading, lists full of classics that I swore were just humdrum, and I regret not picking up every last one and consuming myself in the words of writers who can make the lull of a morning into a beguiling opportunity. Don Quixote was composed of everything he'd indulged in. Chapter 1, page 419. He was filled with the fantasy of everything he had read, from enchantments to quarrels, battles, challenges, wounds, sweet flatteries, beloveds, tempests, and all sorts of impossible idiocy. And what he read lodged so deeply in his imagination that for him, the whole machinery of trumped-up make-believe was true. For him, there was no truer story in the world. With this being the case, who am I if not made up of all the alluring literary concepts that have been written over the years and titled as classics? Why would I choose to wake up every morning with grief that the world is what it is when I could wake up and choose to take life the same way Cervantes wrote about? My imagination and outlook on the world is whatever I can create it to be, and from my experience, there is nothing quite as lovely as moving day by day with the same ideas these esteemed authors have wrote for people, cultures, and religions to love and admire. Without knowing how a classic can create a wondrous form of lifestyle, I would have never known that behind the darkness that we sit in, there is real opportunities, real relationships, friendships, even the skies are brighter. Literature is a language that connects experiences and individuals, and luckily, I am a mosaic of every classic I have read.